So I have school friends and I have camp friends. That's normal, right? I mean, sure, there's some overlap between the two friend groups, but generally they stay separate. I guess it sort of makes sense. There's a very different relationship between classmates and bunkmates at camp who you spend all day with and you all sleep in one big room for 2 whole months. Is it a better relationship? I don't know. But it definitely makes for some funnier moments. And with that brilliant segue, you've already seen the title, I've got some camp stories to share. So for about 3 years, I went to this one camp. I don't want to say the real name, so we'll call it Camp Lake. Yeah, that's a good name. At Camp Lake, we had this bear that would be seen all over the place, and I mean everywhere. Basically, bear sightings were really common. Come to think of it, that might have been a problem. Hey guys, it's the bear! Yeah, we know. So this one time, I was hanging out with some friends in the middle of my divisional area when I looked down towards the lake and saw something that looked like a big dog walk behind one of the bunks. We had this lookout area by the lake called Three Rock, and that's where it seemed to be headed, so I looked over there and saw 2 guys just standing there, completely oblivious that the bear was headed right for them. Now, I didn't really have time to think about the consequences of my actions, and if I wasn't so startled, I probably would have acted differently. But I was. So I didn't. What I did do was turn around to everyone and shout, "Everyone, the bear's at Three Rock!" Obviously, this caused everyone to freak out, because everyone either wanted to see the bear or get back to their bunk as soon as possible. But I didn't have time for that. I was on a mission. I had to save those 2 guys down at Three Rock. So, being the hero that I was, I turned and ran to the nearest bunk, leaving everyone else to get eaten. Gee, I'm a real hero, huh? When I got to the bunk, I slammed the door open and ran to the nearest counselor. "The bear's at Three Rock!" He looked up at me for a second, and then he just went back to playing Clash of Clans on his iPad. He literally did not care at all. I mean, in his defense, I didn't mention the 2 guys down there, so he probably didn't think it was such a big deal. Anyway, I ran to another counselor, and he was a lot more helpful. He immediately went running to get the division head, who in turn got a golf cart, because that's what the counselors drove around at my camp, and chased the bear off into the woods. And the day was saved, all thanks to me. So there are 2 ways to look at this. On one hand, the bear wasn't fully grown, it probably wouldn't have hurt anyone, and I caused a major panic for nothing. But on the other hand, I totally saved those 2 guys. I better get extra dessert for this. Here's a quick story to pad the runtime. Last year, the people in my bunk didn't get along at all. People got into a lot of fights, and it was a bit of a problem. There were 2 guys specifically, we'll call them Kid A and Kid B because I am incredibly unimaginative, who were always at each other's throats. So in one of their fights, Kid B punched Kid A in the head. Kid A was completely fine, but Kid B somehow managed to break his own finger in the process. Now, I wasn't actually there, so I can't vouch for how true this is, but I know Kid B had a finger splint the next day, so it seems pretty likely. One of my favorite parts of camp was the off-campus trips. We had biking trips, hiking trips, canoe trips, sailing trips, camping trips, and I loved all of them. That's actually where I got a lot of my best stories. My personal favorite trip was the overnight sailing trip, where they brought a couple of campers on a big sailboat, sailed around a big lake for a day, then camped out on the other side of the lake overnight. Honestly, the best trip of the entire summer. At the campsite, everyone was helping to collect firewood before it got dark out. Trying to be helpful, I grabbed a big log and started carrying it back to camp. I was about halfway there when I started feeling itching on my arms. I looked down and saw just so many ants streaming out of the log and biting me all over my arms. I dropped the log, quickly brushed off all the ants, and then ran back to the campsite. Now you might think that's where the story would end, but wait, there's more! After getting assaulted by an entire colony of ants, I refused to help getting any more firewood, much to the annoyance of literally everyone. But I wasn't gonna risk it until my counselor came over and told me I had to help. So I reluctantly walked off to grab another log. I don't think I need to tell you what happened next. That's right, the exact same thing as last time. I swear, these ants are out to get me. What did I do to you guys? I mean, to be fair, I probably have stepped on a lot of ants in my life, so I guess we're even. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around to watch my mediocre art. I've never really done anything like this before, so this is all very much an experiment, which I hope doesn't fail miserably. That being said, I'll make a follow-up if this video gets a good response. I really hope I can do that, because I haven't even gotten to tell you the story about how my counselor tackled a pig. But that'll have to wait for now. I don't have any fan art for an end card, so I guess I'll just end the video here.